You guys want some hot Crow content?
It's the Crow Man!
We're getting Crow!
Let the crowning commence!
It's Crow time, baby. Who is Crow, you ask? K-R-O? Well, Crow is the villain of Marvel's The Eternals. He's a big, bald tentacle man played by Bill Skarsgård, or Stellan, or the other one. Side note, we have too many Skarsgårds. If we want to add any new Hollywood Skarsgårds, we need to remove one of the Hollywood Skarsgårds, not kill him, just like, make him quit. Don't worry, Alexander Skarsgård, you're safe, but watch yourself. You're on thin ice, mister. Oh, hey, editing Nando here. Just wanted to make a correction because I made a mistake there. I called Alexander Skarsgård Alexander Sarsgaard. I was actually referring to Peter Sarsgaard, the villain from Green Lantern, and I think he's going to show up in the new Batman movie. He is a Sarsgaard. Alexander Skarsgård is a Skarsgård. So this just proves my point. There's too many Skarsgårds out there. Apparently, there's even another Skarsgård that's in other things that I'm not even aware of. We're discovering new Skarsgårds by the minute. But also, in the day between when I recorded this and now, I've been reading a lot about Dan Stevens, the actor from Legion and Beauty and the Beast. In an interview with Collider, they asked, "Oh, are you in Eternals?" And he said, "Crow comment," very clearly.
I said Crow comment, but I don't know if that is cryptic enough.
And the interviewer was just like, yeah, I don't know who that is. But Dan Stevens, in September of this year, is teasing that he is Crow. Like a month and a half ago. This isn't like a year ago, and things have changed. Like, very recently, Dan Stevens seemed to think he was playing this character. What happened? Like, did he get some sort of other offer for another Marvel Studios project? And they were like, well, we can't have our Mr. Fantastic also being Crow or something. But, like, who cares? Why did he think this a month and a half ago? Where did this go? Where did Bill Skarsgård come into the picture? I'm very confused. If anybody has any answers, throw them in the comments. That's all I got. Back to video Nando. Anyway, Crow. This guy is in Eternals. Can you believe it? Still no live action Jon Stewart, but we get Crow. I mean, 2021's been weird in general. I mean, listen, if you asked me 5 years ago, did I expect to be talking about the Eternals? No. They expect to be talking about Crow? They expect for Crow Eternals talk to be my job? No. But, here we are, surrounded by Turbo Mans and Orms and Charl over there. It's 2021, it's a fascinating world. Anyway, Crow. Slick little evil deviant, whatever. He's bad. Crow is a bad guy. But he's also not that great of a character. Eternal spoilers from here on out. Luckily, Crow does not need to be a great villain because the real villain is Arishem and to a lesser extent Icarus. Hey, do you think anybody knows that Icarus died flying into the sun? Like, it's very symbolic, but also it only works as a symbol if people find out, if you tell them or they see it. I don't think anyone could see it. Or they just like, Icarus, drama queen, probably flew into the sun, like from history. Anyway, Crow. That's the third time I said that. It probably won't be the last. I really don't want to talk about Crow, but he is clearly the weak link in this movie. He shows up sporadically throughout the film, then at the very end to do nothing of value and then get his head sliced. Mostly just so Angelina Jolie isn't in the big fight at the end, I guess, because she totally cut off Icarus's head. Also, way to go Saudi Arabia. Head cut into thirds. Very cool. Two husbands smooch? No thank you. Great stuff. Also, Sprite made the myth of Icarus, right? Like, she came up with it. It was a story she told. And then Icarus flew into the sun. So if the myth was like, and then Icarus ate a bunch of rocks until he died from the rocks, would he have to have done that? Because that would be neat. Anyway, Crow. So Crow is kinda boring. He absorbs the powers of Ajax and Gilgamesh before trying to absorb Athena's power, but getting head sliced. Very Crow of him. And I think by the time the finale gets going, most of the audience has forgotten that Crow even exists. He clearly isn't the real problem, and we've become a little more sympathetic to the plight of the deviants. So I think most of us would be fine with Crow just getting left behind like Dane Whitman and then, I don't know, Disney Plus. And not even Marvel. Just have Crow go on the Jeff Goldblum show. Or make Crow part of Earth to Ned. Side note, Earth to Ned ruled, and we need more Earth to Ned. Easily my favorite non-Marvel Disney Plus thing. Also, side note, Disney, real quick, gotta just check with you guys. What the heck happened? I thought we figured out this big gray villain thing. We had Mysterio, we had the Elementals, we had Hela, Surtur, Ego, Aisha, and now we got Crow. Look at this action figure. It's just nothing but big and gray. And then the Dweller in Darkness, and even Taskmaster. Like, we are regressing. The villains are somehow getting more big and gray. God help me if Green Goblin or Sandman become gray. I will become untethered, and my rage will know no bounds. Whatever. Okay, say it with me. Anyway, Crow. Let's say we absolutely need Crow in the finale. Is there anything interesting we can do with Crow? I think so, and I've rewritten the ending a bit. I'll walk you through this new Crow positive ending and explain my reasoning. Okay, croquet. Very good. Not like croquet like the game with the mallets, like Crow plus okay. So, Thena and Crow are in the cave. Crow has Thena in his tentacles. And Thena begins to go mad, but she has a flashback to when she was with Gilgamesh. She's having another one of her mad, weary moments, and Gilgamesh says to her, "Remember who you are." And she says, "I'm a weapon." And Gil says, "No, you're Thena." And she snaps out of it, manages to make a dagger, cut herself free, but, this is very important, instead of slicing Crow's head off, Thena pushes him back. Then her weapons dematerialize, leaving her unarmed. Thena says, "We don't want to fight you." Crow, surprised, says, "That's what you were made to do." And then Thena says, "That's not my problem anymore." And then she leaves. Crow is confused. Thena comes back to help her friends, and then we don't see much of Crow for a while. While the Eternals are still fighting, Crow exits the cave and watches him. He says to himself, "They hunted my kind for centuries, and now they let me live. What is this?" And then we see, behind him, dun dun dun, Kingo? No, Karen. He says, "Excuse me, Mr. Deviant, I think I can explain." And he shows Crow the video of the Eternals arguing. And Crow gets that they're just trying to survive and stop Icarus from destroying the world. Kingo runs after Karen, saying, "Get away, he's going to kill you." Kingo gets ready to shoot a fireball, and Karen stands in front of Crow, saying, "No, Mr. Kingo, let him see for himself." Crow finishes watching the video and hands the camcorder back to Karen. Crow says, "Thank you, Mr. Karen. You are truly the wisest Eternal, Karen. I am sorry, Kingo." Then Crow flies away. Karen is proud. It's an end to the climax. Cersei is using the Unimind to turn the dreaming Celestial into marble. Kingo also gets to be part of the Unimind because he's here now. Icarus breaks through, tries to stop Cersei, but it's too late. All the Eternals have connected. All but one. Icarus, defiant to the end, refuses to join. He fights it. Cersei pleads, "Icarus, we aren't powerful enough without you. I need you." And Icarus says, "Sorry, Cersei, it's over." And then Crow flies over and knocks out Icarus. Cersei is scared, but Kingo in Mind Meld says, "Don't worry, he understands." But then Crow heals Cersei's stab wound, and then, here's the crazy part, joins the Unimind. We can see via the outline of Ajax's helmet and Gilgamesh's gauntlets forming around his hands that Crow is accessing the power of the two Eternals he killed and adding it to the Unimind. And that gives the Eternals enough to put them over the edge and stop the Celestial. Crow says, "I'm sorry." Cersei says, "So am I." And then Crow leaves. That's the end of Crow in this movie. Because the Deviants aren't the bad guys. It's kind of a misunderstanding. Druig explains it in his bit of the movie. They were tricked into thinking it was their job to be predators, the same way that the Eternals were tricked into thinking it was their job to stop them. And Crow is a more evolved Deviant, so he can see past his original purpose, like the rest of the Eternals do, and help them stop the Celestial. It's the ultimate example of rejecting your origin to do the right thing. And this gives Kingo a bit of a redemption, but really, and I think this is super important, gives Karen, the only significant human character, sorry Dane, a way to contribute. And now Kingo's documentary isn't just a fun little joke, it's a pivotal plot point that helps the Eternals save the world. Listen, was Crow good? Kind of. It could have been better. And by choosing to do what Icarus chose not to do, it would show that anyone can be a hero and anyone can be a monster. And I know that's not exactly what Eternals is about, but it does definitely feel like what they were going for. As always, huge thank you to everyone who continues to support the channel. Find me on Patreon, patreon.com/NandoVMovies. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. Listen to my podcast, Mostly Nitpicking. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok. I'm NandoVMovies on all those platforms. That's all I got. Stay safe. See you next time.